I know. Time.
Mm-hmm. Time for what?
The party?
Mm-hmm. I'm Kristin, and with me today is Sarah.
Hello.
Just us.
Yep.
We're going to talk about Stir of Echoes today.
That we are.
And I think this is going to be the first one to come out in October, because I wanted it to come out around your birthday.
Of course.
Because you made this movie happen.
Oh, I made this movie happen?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yes. I don't think you put it on the list, but you were definitely insistent that it happened. When was the first time you saw this movie?
I don't remember how old I was, but I remember why, because I think you actually brought it to my attention when we were younger. So it would have been after you had seen it.
And I do not remember this at all. Like,
really?
There's like a shot in the beginning of the two sisters standing in the living room. That felt familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the part with the theater, because that's so striking. But I really didn't remember anything about it.
It's so funny to me, because I have this like stark memory of you being the one that introduced this movie to me, and I don't know how old we were.
I don't know how. I feel like it was maybe on TV, which is how I maybe on an accident walked through, and there it was, and oh, there's a witch in it. Maybe Sarah would like it. I don't know if maybe that's how it happened.
Because I'm witchy.
Yeah, because you were witchy.
Yeah, I mean, and I can remember seeing it several times. I don't know, between whatever age I first saw it and like 18. And
Did
then
you own it?
No. And then I haven't seen it again until recently since then. So it's been a long time.
Wow.
And I have many thoughts about things that I'm sure I did not have at that young age.
All right, so the IMDb summary is, after being hypnotized by his sister-in-law, a man begins seeing haunting visions of a girl's ghost, and a mystery begins to unfold around him.
Sounds pretty accurate.
Sure. So, how exactly does it open?
I'm not 100% certain if this was the first scene, but I know very early on you see this little boy. This is very Sixth Sense, like.
Yes.
He's in the tub, he's talking to somebody.
Right.
His mom is in the background doing whatever, watching, just being there, making sure a kid doesn't drown, I'm sure.
Like you do.
Yeah. And then he asks whoever he's talking to, does it hurt to be dead?
Mm-hmm. I think you're right that's one of the first things.
Yeah.
So then we meet the kid's dad. I don't know if is he getting ready for work or what's happening. They're going somewhere.
They're just having family life out in the kitchen.
Yep.
Maggie, the mother, is also there, and I believe her sister is there. And this is like the scene that kind of follows all of this, where Lisa outs that Maggie's pregnant, and Tom is, for
some reason, because I think that literally never comes up again.
Yeah, it was a weird plot device.
I don't know why that happened.
Tom is really awkward and
he's working class dude.
Yeah.
Which I do want to throw out that his Chicago accent is not bad.
Yeah.
He does sound like my uncle sometimes. And
so Tom is played by Kevin Bacon. I'm not sure. I don't know where he's from. But I
had to look it up because I was like, the accent's not bad. He's from Philly.
Oh.
I don't know. Also working class, maybe it's similar.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a while to figure out where they were actually located, because I don't think I even really figured it out until they were at a cemetery later, and you see a police car.
Yeah, I feel like they say it early on, and I was like, this really looks like Chicago, because my uncle lives in a neighborhood that looks like that, with all the houses crammed together.
Gotcha.
There's like this tiny backyard. It's very similar, and...
See, I've not spent a lot of time in Chicago outside of, like, the touristy areas, so I didn't really know.
And even like block parties are such a thing in his neighborhood that like I have never seen anywhere else.
I wondered about that.
I think that's a Chicago thing. I don't know.
That seems so weird to me. As
they do it all the time.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't imagine that in any Indiana town I've ever been in.
I don't know what it is, if it's just like the houses are that close together that you just accidentally know your neighbors, and
maybe it's a product of the 90s where you were more likely to get to know your neighbors.
Yeah. You weren't all stuck on your phones.
It's a combination of all those things, yes.
Sure.
Yeah, because I don't think you see any cell phones in this movie at all.
I don't think so. I mean,
I know 99
they definitely don't have them.
Yeah.
Because that would have solved a couple things, I think.
Probably.
But yeah, I did notice at the end that it said it was shot on location in Chicago. Like, oh, that's why it looks authentic, because it is.
Okay.
So that's how I'm feeling good about it so far.
Okay.
Okay, so what's going on with the sister-in-law?
Well, at this point, like, after the whole pregnancy outing, you kind of just, you can tell that Tom is kind of unhappy with where his life is at. Like, he is dissatisfied, and you don't really know why, but he's not happy. And anyway, they're going to this block party. They're all hanging out in the neighborhood with neighbors and friends and whatnot. And Lisa's talking about hypnosis for whatever reason. And Tom is very much a disbeliever, and he's like, try it on me.
Yep.
Like,
prove it.
Prove it. And so she does. And boy, was that a mistake.
Yeah.
Like, he sees a glimpse of something while he's in there. I can't remember what it was or if we even saw it. But he wakes up sweaty, tears in his eyes.
His friends are laughing at him.
Yeah.
What is it Lisa says? Well, congratulations, you're one of the 8% or something.
Yeah, one of the, like, 3%, I think.
Oh, was it 3?
It was something low.
That's highly suggestible?
Yeah, and highly hypnotizable.
Right.
And what? They kind of mention, like, while he was under, like, she had him stick a needle all the way through his hand.
Which we see later, and I hated it.
Yeah, that was awful.
I did not like it. There's a baby monitor, because I guess their house is across the street, and it goes that far.
I don't know how those work, but can you imagine being in a time where you were fine with just leaving your kid over there and taking a baby monitor with you?
God, I don't know.
That would not be a thing now.
Maybe not. I mean, if the kid's already asleep and the house is locked and you're looking at the house,
yes.
I don't know, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be a big fan.
No, yeah. I just couldn't picture.
No. So Tom hates this.
Yeah.
He's freaked out.
Yeah, as you would be, I would think. I would be freaked out.
I think they go home and then, like, they start having sex in the middle of the night and he starts seeing things.
Yeah.
Is this where you first see the nail breaking back?
I think so.
Which
he's
I
seen
also
a lot
hated.
of... Yeah.
He's so freaked out that he has her stop and he goes into the bathroom and notices blood is in the water of this cup.
Yeah.
And he looks at the mirror and his tooth is loose, and I hated that.
And he pulls it out.
Yes, that was the worst. And he drops his tooth in the sink. And he looks back at the glass and there's nothing in it. Nothing in the sink.
Yeah, he didn't actually do it.
Yeah.
Like, he's seeing a lot of weirdness.
He's seeing
basically.
some crazy shit, yes.
Yeah.
And I hate it all.
Right. And I feel like this continues for a little while. Like, he just continues to see some weird shit everywhere he goes.
When does he first see the girl?
Not for a while, I feel like.
Does he first see her on the couch?
Yeah, it's much later. Like, you get a lot more references to her before he actually sees her.
Like, he sees something, and then he goes upstairs, and the kid is there. Mm-hmm. Doesn't the kid say something like, "Don't be afraid, Daddy"? Or something?
Yeah, like, something like that.
So, like, the kid clearly can see the same thing that he does.
Right. Because, again, I don't know, because The Sixth Sense came out the same year, right?
Yes.
It was also 99. So it was very... They have a lot of similarities while being very different.
Sort of do, yeah. So the parents are going to go to this football game or something, so they have to get a babysitter. The mom's trying to call around, find somebody, and the kid just offhand says, "Why don't you talk to whoever about Debbie?"
Yeah.
So the mom does.
Not questioning. I would absolutely question.
Maybe she just assumed that this kid had other friends that have seen Debbie or whatever. But we find out that the kid has heard this name from Samantha, the ghost.
Yeah. Maggie asked Jake how he knew about Samantha, or how he knew about Debbie, and he said, "Samantha told me." Still nothing is questioned.
Right. While the babysitter is there, on the baby monitor, she hears the kid talking to... Does he say Samantha?
Well, before that happens, you see a shot of the parents and everybody walking to the game, and Tom is seeing these, like, red flashes everywhere.
Right.
Almost like it's leading him somewhere.
Okay.
And then it kind of goes back to Debbie, and she hears, like, Jake talking to someone, and I guess she goes to check on him and asks who he's talking to, and he says Samantha, which... That's crushing, I'm sure.
She freaks out.
I would.
Because Samantha is her sister who has been missing for 6 months.
Yeah.
And so she's like, "Where did you see her?" "In my house."
And so obviously...
She's in your house?
Yeah.
So she's probably thinking the worst of, like, they have my sister chained in the basement or something.
Right. Something's wrong.
So she picks up this kid and runs off somewhere.
Yeah.
Tom is getting bad vibes.
He somehow knows, like, instinctively something's wrong. And
yeah, I wasn't sure what was going on with that. Was that just like a father-son? We experienced the same thing kind of situation?
It almost felt like there was something cut out there that maybe shouldn't have been. Like, maybe
I did kind of wonder.
like maybe he had gotten a vision or something of this happening, but because he actually says at one point she took Jake before he bolts.
Right.
And starts running back towards the house.
So nobody's there. Mm-hmm. Is it the red lights? He keeps following the red lights?
Yeah, he keeps following the red lights and it takes him to a train station. So obviously he and Maggie are both thinking like, oh, she's trying to get on a train with my kid.
Right. Like,
where are they? And come to find out, she took him to the train station because that's where her mother worked. They're talking to a police officer. Yes. She's yelling, they have Samantha.
Yeah.
Like,
the cop kind of goes back and forth of like, okay, you stole this child, and then it's like, you have this teenager?
Right.
Like, I don't know exactly how it does he just kind of talk his way out of it and they kind of slip away?
Well, they pull out a picture of her. Right. And they're like, they ask Maggie and Tom, like, have you seen this girl? And Maggie obviously hasn't. She says no. And Tom looks at the picture, realizes that that was the ghost that he saw, and he tells them no.
Right. Like,
and as they're walking away, he tells Maggie, like, that's the girl I saw on the couch.
Yeah, that's who we're seeing.
Yeah.
So now he's got this name, and he knows that this girl's been gone for 6 months. So they're out somewhere during the day, like, hanging out with his friends, doing something. And he starts asking around about Samantha.
Well, before this happens, even, they're back at the house with Jake and asking, because at this point, like, they realize he knows about Samantha, and they ask about her, and there's this weird moment where, like, almost through the kids, Samantha says, like, talk to me. And it's very creepy.
Tom is, like, screaming at his child. Like, say it again. Say it. Use the voice again.
Maggie's like, leave him alone.
Yeah.
He's,
like, what the hell are you
he's
doing?
6. Stop. So yeah, then they're hanging out with his friends, and Tom is asking his friend Harry about Samantha. He pulls over another friend, or no, Harry pulls over his son Kurt to talk about her, and they act like, she's just some girl that went missing, like no big deal.
Yeah. Here's something that I really liked about this movie. Somebody repeatedly uses the R word, but he gets the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
And I kind of love that.
For sure. I agree.
So, it's number 2. Doing all right with this movie.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So what does anybody know about Samantha at this point?
Not a lot, really. Just that she went missing 6 months ago. I mean, we don't know, at least not that I can recall.
And that she was different in some sense. Like,
yeah.
We would probably...
She was maybe a little off.
She was probably on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Is what we're gathering from what people are saying.
So what?
The sons are, like, so shifty.
Yeah,
like,
they're real weird.
Kurt is not great, and...
When you see Adam later, which is another of the kids...
Yeah.
He's real weird. Kurt especially, though.
Kurt especially, for sure. Because, I mean, you get the sense, given what happens, that Adam has some kind of soul that he's, like, trying to reconcile.
Which, and I mean, and this will probably come up a lot later, but you can tell they're very much like their fathers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Personality-wise.
Yes.
Like, Kurt is very much like his father, and Adam is... also the
Frank
same.
is a sweet man, and Adam's doing his best.
And that'll be a point.
Harry's an asshole, and Kurt is too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. When is the music happening? Like, there's one point Tom is sitting on the couch with a guitar, trying to figure out this tune that is in his head. The kid seems to know it because he's like, here, try this.
Yeah.
And he can't figure out where he knows this song from. He goes through his CDs. I don't know when this is, but there's a vision of the house. There's like a coat lying there on the floor. At this point, I don't remember why he goes outside, but he goes over, I guess it's Frank's house because Adam is there. And it's like, Adam's acting real weird. Like, you want to see something? And Tom's like, I guess.
Yeah.
And the kid has a gun.
Right.
And threatens him. And it's all like, it's all very weird. Like,
well, and you also see like
it looks real, but you think
it's very
like,
dreamlike.
Yeah.
Well, and you also, right around the same time, I don't know if it's before or after you see Adam, but you see Adam's dad, Frank, saying something about they're going to kill you.
Yeah, he's like sitting out on the steps, like looking so distraught.
Yeah.
They were going to kill you and Maggie both. And so we're like, okay, that's
fucked up.
Truly not real, but so weird.
Yeah. And then Tom wakes up and he starts going about his day and he realizes he's following the same footsteps that were happening in his dream.
Like there was a note on the bathroom mirror from his wife. The note's there again.
Right.
So he's like, okay, I saw something like that was a vision of the future, I guess.
Right.
And so he runs over to Frank's.
Yeah.
Is he already shot? Do they, like, is there an altercation?
Yeah. He runs over to check on them, and through the window, he sees Adam
has been
shoot
shot.
himself.
Right.
Like, he actually sees it happen.
Okay.
Because I can remember hearing the gunshot.
Okay.
And then after that, what we see, kind of the aftermath of that, they're taking him out. Adam's dad comes home.
And is, right, again, visibly distraught for, like, good reason.
Many reasons. And Maggie decides that she's going to take Jake for a walk.
Yes.
And they're out walking. They come across a cemetery, and Jake just runs on in.
This place is cool!
Yeah.
Like,
no kid.
Movie child.
Yeah. And they see a kind of a funeral going on for what I am guessing is
probably a police
officer. And they just keep walking. And at one point, you see this police officer come over and talk to them.
Mm-hmm. Like, while they're at the service, one of the guys standing there turns around and sees Jake and kind of waves at him, kind of like acknowledging. Maggie's like, I don't think we're supposed to be here. She walks off.
Yeah. And
then once the funeral disbands, the guy seeks them out again.
Right.
This is our black spiritual guide, like, has to be in all movies.
Of course. And he says he has the eyes, doesn't he? But you don't. Maybe the father.
Right.
And obviously she has no idea what he's talking about.
Right.
But,
like, she's obviously getting creeped out.
Yeah, she knows something is wrong with Tom, but she doesn't know what it is.
What is really. It? Is it here or later that she tells him, like, it's like they have their own little cult, like, my husband and my son whisper to each other and then stop as soon as I come in the room.
Right. I think it's later, but yeah, it's definitely what she's feeling. But this man tells her to have Tom pay him a visit.
Right.
Instead of
specifically the father.
Yeah. But instead of doing that, Maggie decides she's going to go instead.
Right.
Which is a big no, apparently.
I think she comes home and sees them doing their little confab and is like, this is fucking pissing me off.
Yeah.
And so she says she's going to go to the movies, but she actually goes to...
And I think this is when you get that comment that you had mentioned, where it's like they have their own little cult.
Yeah.
But he obviously can't let her in the house. So she goes off and she talks to this man, and he kind of explains, like, either something happened, some sort of trauma, or the hypnotism that he went through.
Right.
Something opened his mind up.
Right. And now he's seeing this ghost, which has probably asked him to do something, and he's not doing it.
Yeah. And it's not going to stop until...
Right. Until it's done.
Yeah.
So that's what she knows.
And as she is coming home... Oh, no, this is when Tom has the premonition of the coat. And then he sees a house that's under construction. And then he looks over at the door and he sees Samantha doing that super typical ghost walk where it's very...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, something that I read in the... There was a couple notes in the DVD of, like, they shot her with 6 frames per second instead of 24.
Okay.
And they said that, like, the actress had ballet training, and so she was able to move fluidly,
awkwardly,
slowly.
Yeah.
So it looks wrong.
Yeah.
But there's also, like, you can't really see what, like, it's like, I can't, like, why is it weird? Like, something's weird here. Like, she's not moving fast, but it looks fast.
It was very off-putting. And as he's seeing this, Maggie comes home, and she finds Tom basically, like, reaching out to nothing. And
he's,
not,
like,
breathing
not breathing
at all. So she like, grabs his face, pulls him out of it.
Right.
And that's kind of where we are with that.
And that freaks him out enough that I think this is when he goes back to Lisa and is like, fucking undo whatever the hell you did.
Yeah, fix it.
Yeah.
Close this.
She's very high.
Door. Yeah.
She lets him know that they just had a huge blunt and I am not...
She's struggling.
I'm not doing great and this is really freaking me out. Yeah. So let's just get this over with.
And she tries to.
Yeah. She does the similar thing that she had done earlier of, like, basically go to your memory palace or whatever. Like, there's the theater. It's all dark. There's seats all around, but they're all empty. And Tom's like, no, there's somebody else here. She says, no, you're all alone. Like, no, there's literally someone else here in this theater.
Unlike before, when the words would come up on the screen to say sleep, this time they just say dig.
Dig.
Because that's not ominous and horrifying at all.
So Tom goes home and digs.
Boy, does he.
Boy, does he.
This rental house that they are living in.
I know.
The yard completely destroyed. And Maggie comes home at one point while they're digging, notices there's like a refrigerator full of orange juice, which I never quite understood the orange juice.
I was going to ask about the orange juice.
I don't know.
What's going on with that?
I don't know what that was.
And at this point, she's just like, okay, whatever. Yeah, this is what my life is now. Yeah.
And she goes outside, sees the yard, and then also sees like Jake is out there playing in the dirt.
Also digging. And
she realizes like what Tom is digging for, and she looks at Jake, and Tom's just like,
don't worry.
It's not over there.
Yeah.
It's fine.
He's fine. It's not over there. Which I found so funny. And then
funny, but also so messed up.
I know. And then they have like this shouting match out in the backyard.
Yeah.
The kid gets stressed out. Parents go inside.
They try to have a talk.
And then the other orange juice thing that is so fucking funny to me, I laughed for like 10 seconds straight. He's like, there's not a whole lot left in there. He pulls out these 2 glasses and slaps them down. And he pours most of it into one cup and then goes back and forth between the others, so it's kind of level.
Like you do with shot glasses in a bar. Like,
shoots his down.
Yeah.
Stares at her like,
Are you going to drink it? And then he just takes it.
It's the silliest thing, and I don't know
she is
what
so
was
pissed.
going on with that. I just found that so funny. I don't know what. I think is he just losing it? Like he's halfway between worlds at this point?
Yeah,
like,
she definitely thinks he's losing it.
Yeah. I mean,
as I probably would.
For sure. But, oh gosh, it's so strange.
Is this the point where she gets the phone call?
Yeah, it starts out with a fax. She gets a handwritten letter from her brother saying, oh, her grandma's in the hospital again.
Yeah.
And
then she gets a phone call.
Right. Tom says, oh no, she's
already
stops himself.
Yeah.
And the wife's like, what?
What is it? What's wrong?
Ring. Then it's her brother saying, oh no, she's already passed away.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay.
While she's on this phone call, she's staring at Tom like, how the fuck did you know?
He knows things before they happen. This is not cool anymore.
So she starts preparing to go be with the family, and they get into another fight because he's not going with her, which, shitty.
Yep.
I'd be pissed.
He said, I'm kind of in the middle of something.
Fuck you.
Yeah, take a shower. Yeah. Get in the car.
Yeah. This can wait.
Yeah. And so she's pissed off enough that she's like, fine, me and the kid will go. We'll go to the wake. It's at a relative's house like an hour away.
Right.
He continues to dig.
God.
But decides...
It's not in the yard anymore.
Maybe we should try the basement. So
and he brings a jackhammer.
Yeah, he starts with an ice pick, but that's going a little too slow.
So he's digging in the basement of this house with a jackhammer, which is kind of comedic, but also this is a rental house that you're... I can't. And he's renting this from one of his friends that lives in the neighborhood, which will be important later. This is Harry's house. Yeah.
So he's fucking up the basement floor like big time, and you're like, this is going so slow, he's never going to figure it out. And eventually there's a gigantic hammer involved, which I am amazed that the ice pick didn't end up in the water heater. But yeah, the hammer kind of swings back a little too far and hits this
accidentally
rickety-ass looking wall that he probably should have started with. And there's a dried up body in there.
Yeah, there is. Looking very mummified.
Yes.
Which I don't know a lot about mummification. Is that the right...
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, is that the right temp?
I
and like,
kind of wondered that too.
Like, how would that happen in a house?
Don't think so. I mean, I feel like, shouldn't there be a smell?
Yes.
It's only been 6 months.
And they've been living there for some amount of time.
Yeah.
Like, they've made that their home.
Yeah.
It's very odd.
Like, it's not like they're opening the film and, unpacking boxes or anything.
And yeah, now that you mention it, like, there's no way she's mummified in 6 months.
Yeah.
Like that. That's not.
Yeah, I think there's probably an amount of salt you have to have.
Yeah, I know that's nitpicking, but...
No, you're right, because, like, I had the exact same question.
I definitely noticed it, and I was like,
I don't know, like, he's chugging down orange juice like nobody's business, so
whatever.
I'm going to let the rest of it go.
Fine. Which kind of going back to the orange juice, I wonder if that was just, like, kind of alluding to the orange coat somehow. Like, orange, just the color.
Maybe.
Color is important.
That could have been.
For whatever reason. Color is very important in this
movie. That answer. Okay, I'm on
board. That's the only one I got for that.
So, when he breaks into this wall, we see peeking in the window into the basement, Kurt?
Oh, I think I missed him peeking in. I don't think I saw it.
I mean, you definitely see Harry, like, there's a jackhammer in somebody's basement, so it's loud as fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, he knows.
Yeah.
And he had mentioned earlier that he owns a lot of the rental houses in that neighborhood. So, obviously, somebody's got a jackhammer. I'm checking on my money.
So, when the body gets found, does he, like, touch her hand? And Tom gets, like, the vision of what had happened to her.
Yeah. He gets that vision, and he sees that she was walking down the neighborhood wearing her orange coat. Mm-hmm. And Kurt and Adam are at this empty house that's under construction, and they kind of pull her in. They ask her, "Do you want to see something?" I think, isn't that what they say? Yeah,
I think so. Something about a surprise.
Do you want to see? Yeah, do you want to see a surprise, or do you want to see something cool? And she goes into the house, and I mean, again, you can kind of tell she's probably a little bit on the spectrum.
Yeah, it wasn't overplayed at all, which I appreciated.
I mean, any other circumstance, and she would just seem like a shy girl.
Just a nervous person. Yeah, for sure.
But she goes in, and she's with these two boys, and I'm not sure what leads to it, but Kurt tries to rape her, basically. Yeah. And she won't stop screaming.
Right.
Like, she's obviously freaking out.
Yeah.
And so Adam pulls this plastic from the construction house, puts it over her face, trying to shut her up.
Right.
Being an idiot, not realizing he's going to kill her.
His friend is literally trying to rape her.
Yeah, so horrible. And so, yeah, she dies.
Gets suffocated.
Yeah.
And
kind of accidentally, but also
there were crimes already happening.
Yeah.
So
I have lots of feelings about this whole...
All right. Well, Tom now knows what happens.
Yeah.
What has happened to this girl. And he likes Frank. Like, Frank's his friend.
Yeah.
And he decides he's going to go over and say, like, look, I know something that your son has done.
Yeah.
And I want you to hear it from me first before the cops come.
Yeah. He's like, we have to go tell the police what happened.
Like, this is probably why your son tried to shoot himself, kind of thing. Well, Tom's just like, why don't you just come with me? I will show you. Frank comes along down in the basement. Sees the body, and he's like, that could be anybody's hair in her hand. Like, well, we could also get the DNA tested in the hair, so we'll figure it out. Like,
and he pulls out a gun.
Yes.
And at first you think he's going to shoot Tom, but he doesn't. He basically tells him, get out.
Get out of this basement.
And you hear a shot, and you immediately think that he has shot himself.
Right.
Tom is upstairs. Harry comes in because they want to check out what's happening to their house.
Harry's like, what's going on, man? Like,
he's got Kurt with him. So he asks if he can look around, and Tom is just like, he lets him. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, the man owns your house.
And what? He throws like a bottle of Fireball to his kid or something.
Yeah, they're definitely drinking.
Yeah. It's very awkward, very weird behavior. And what? Do they go down to the basement? No, he never makes it down to the basement.
I don't think so. So, like, other than the basement, like, the floorboards are all torn up upstairs. Harry's like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, this is a rental house.
Yeah.
Tom makes up something about, like, the water main. I couldn't get to it under the house, blah, blah, blah. So
and he's like, well, it's not under the house.
Water's not under the house. You're like, well, I know that now. He tries to play it off, but then the guys attack him.
Yeah.
Before this, I think, had Maggie called him, or had he called her?
I think she had tried to call him.
And he's like, look, I'm sorry, like, I should have been there with you.
He lies and says the digging has stopped. Even though it hasn't.
It's all good. And she's like, well, it's not too late for you to come, you know? And he's like, well, you have the car, blah, blah, blah. Well, then I'll come get you. I'll be there in an hour. Click. And I'm like, fucking okay, now my wife's going to be here in an hour.
And she is trying to get Jake to come, and he says he's scared to go home, and all he'll say is because of the feathers.
Because of the feathers, that's right. I forgot about that.
And so Lisa is like, I'll watch him. You just go. Yeah. He's fine here.
It's about the time that Tom gets attacked that we see Maggie show up. She had earlier snuck a gigantic knife in her purse.
Right before she went to go see the man.
The police officer.
Yeah. So
she whips that out. The lights go out in the house. Like, she goes back and forth between the door and the car a couple times. Like, I don't really like what's going on here. Like, she says, I'm just going to pull up to the house and honk, you get your ass out there.
Yeah.
He doesn't come outside. She goes up to the door, gets, I guess, freaked out enough that she goes back for the knife.
Yeah.
Comes in, also gets attacked. And it's not looking great for Tom and Maggie.
No, it's not.
And do we hear the shots first?
I think
and
so.
And then see what happens? What has happened?
I think so, yeah.
So what has happened is that Frank didn't shoot himself.
Right.
He pops out of nowhere and shoots Harry and Kurt.
Coming to rescue Tom and Maggie.
Because they were going to kill you.
Yeah.
You and Maggie both.
So he comes... Because in the beginning of the movie, I remember thinking, like, this guy sucks. Like, as a person, I hate this guy.
Which one?
Like, Frank. Yeah, which... the opposite of what it ends up being at the end.
I went back and forth with him because, like, it was him toward the beginning that beat up that guy for using the R word.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, he cares about this girl or something. Like, he's got some kind of soft spot in him.
Yeah.
But he was also fucking making so much fun of Tom for, like...
Not only that, he was, like, looking at other women when his wife was right next to him and things like that. Like, he just seemed like a shitty person. But...
Yeah, he had layers, for sure.
He did. But yeah, he effectively stops Kurt and Harry. Was it him or was it Harry? Like when he gets attacked by Frank that shoots, and you see the feathers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know if it's. I feel
point,
like it would be Harry.
There's a point where a gun goes off and it goes through the house, right up through Jake's pillow, and you see the feathers.
The feathers go everywhere.
So. Yep. Kid knew.
Yep, that's creepy.
Smart kid.
Because of the feathers.
Yeah.
The ghost is happy.
Yeah.
She got what she wanted.
She's free now.
Puts on her glasses, snuggles up in her coat, walks away through a car.
Yeah. She's free now.
Tom's family gets the fuck out of that house. They move. And Jake continues to be troubled by ghosts talking everywhere.
As they're driving away, he's still hearing things going on everywhere.
It's kind of a sad.
Definitely opened it up for a sequel. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, you can see where they were at least trying to open it up.
I guess. Were there more of these?
I think there was.
I feel like there maybe was at least another one.
I don't know if I ever saw it, but I'm pretty sure there was a second one. And yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. My notes at the end are what is going on with the orange juice.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Bacon seems to know that this is all so silly.
And Kevin Bacon is still beautiful.
He's so adorable. And that it wasn't until, like, the very end, like, they're loading stuff into the moving truck or whatever, and they sort of touch hands, and their hands slide away from each other, and you see the little heart tattoo on his arm.
Yeah.
She has the same tattoo on her shoulder, and I didn't notice they had matching tattoos
cute.
Until...
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I have feelings about the fathers and the sons in this movie, because I hadn't seen this movie in 10 plus years, and all I could think about towards the end when they were talking about we have to protect our sons and all this bullshit was Brock Turner.
Yeah.
And that just hurt.
Yep.
And that's exactly the behavior that made me just feel ick.
Yeah. So that's definitely something that has changed.
Yeah.
Since then. Oof.
Just
again,
like,
it was always happening, but now it's in the news and we're starting to understand the extent of the injustice.
Well, because I feel like I remember one of the fathers even saying, like, are we supposed to let this ruin their lives or something like that? Like,
right. And that's exactly what the judge did in the sentencing. Was like, well, he's trying to play football or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, no.
So that struck a chord with me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that hasn't stopped.
No.
We're getting better at catching it, but
it's still happening.
Yeah.
And that treatment with fathers and sons is still, I mean, maybe not everyone, but it's still a thing.
I'm sure that's getting better, especially as millennials become parents more and more.
I would like to think so.
Yeah.
I guess, we'll see 10 years from now.
Ugh. Right.
But yeah, it made me feel rough. And kind of put this movie in a different light for me, because I didn't remember that sort of behavior is sticking out to me, but I was also 18 and younger.
Yeah, I didn't have a ton of friends that were girls. I mean, I didn't have a ton of friends. I never heard anybody talk about any violence that had happened to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't exposed to anything like that, like in the real world.
Yeah.
I didn't,
same.
To my knowledge, didn't know anybody that had been through anything like that.
And I had a lot of guy friends, and I feel like obviously I don't see what was behind closed doors, but they didn't act like that.
So yeah, it's something I think that we're going to be more and more mindful of going forward, so yeah.
And it definitely, it stuck out like a sore thumb in this movie,
so then
to me.
In a way, this was maybe a little ahead of its time.
Possibly.
Especially having come from a novel. Like, this was based on a book from the 50s. I don't know how much came directly from the book.
Yeah, I don't know.
But if it was basically play for play, then...
Well, I don't even know. I feel like they weren't even necessarily pointing that behavior out as necessarily like,
oh, just here's the rationale.
This is wrong. I think that it was just, these are the series of events.
I see.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas nowadays, we would point this out as...
This is the core of the movie right here.
This is the core, and this is wrong, and this is why. And whereas in this movie, that wasn't even really...
The core is just...
this girl died.
Yes, exactly. Rather than the toxic masculinity around.
Right.
Why we didn't know this girl died.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
And I'm curious now that because I didn't realize it was a book. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in
about that.
In reading the book now. And it was basically called the same thing. It's called A Stir of Echoes.
Okay.
And I was going to ask, like, what's the title mean? Like, it's a very cool set of words. Like, I like it, but I don't know how it fits into this film.
You know, I don't really know either.
I wonder if it's just maybe like
echo chamber of the brain, maybe.
That's a good one. I was just gonna say like echoes of like the screaming inside the house, and
yeah, also very possible.
Conceptually, what could have been echoes inside the wall.
There's
and then stirring up the shit.
Boy, did they!
Yes, but yeah, the echo chamber thing that's definitely how it would be put today.
Yeah, for sure.
Because yeah, especially since 2016, that's become a thing that we talk about. That and Overton Window. Maybe one of us will have to read the book and
I know
see what's in there. What's the thing in this movie? What was it when you were talking about, I want to see Stir of Echoes for this show? What was in your head of like, here's what this movie's going to be when...
Well, and this is why I think it was good that I hadn't watched it in so long. Because when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about, ooh, this is a spooky, ghosty movie. I like that. Now that I've watched it again, it's definitely the behavior
of the men
in the movie. So it's a very different experience watching it in 2019 than watching it in 2000 or whatever.
Probably even 5 years ago would have been completely different.
For sure. But yeah, as far as like a thing that stuck out, like that I could remember, the visuals of when Tom was being hypnotized of the movie theater was very cool.
Yeah, I think that was one of the other things that actually felt maybe familiar to me.
That stood out a lot to me.
Yeah.
And I remembered that. But honestly, I didn't remember much of this movie like I thought I did. I mean, I kind of remembered the plot, but...
I don't know what the thing would be for me. Like, I really liked the orange juice thing.
The orange
that
juice
was so
thing.
Fun. And then digging in the backyard.
Yeah. I'm glad they threw in just a little bit of humor. Because it is kind of a dark story otherwise.
Yeah, I don't know what am I going to remember from it? Probably similar to you of like, here's what the message could be, I guess. Here's how we shouldn't behave.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that at all. I had no idea what it was going to be.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, watching it when I was 15, that's not something that stood out to me.
Right.
It's not something I'd experienced. It wasn't in the media like it is now.
Yes.
It just wasn't, it didn't stand out at all. It didn't occur to me.
What's the most 90s thing about this movie?
Oh, gosh. Kevin Bacon. I don't know.
I think the sister's clothes.
She was very fun.
Lisa?
Yeah.
She has the biggest eyes I've ever seen.
She does.
Her eyes are so big.
Yes.
Yeah, she was very cute. Like, she had the printed shirts. I don't know if there was, like, some kind of elephant. So there was a lot of that. I remember a lot of, like...
Yeah.
I don't know if it's supposed to be Buddhist or what, but...
Oh, I don't know.
Tibetan something. I don't know.
She was just very
printed
witchy.
On shirts. Yeah. And then the wife character had a choker.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
That was a thing. That used to be a thing.
Yeah.
She also had, like, the high-waisted jeans, but then just, like, with a little bit of belly
showing.
Just,
which
like,
was a big thing.
Tiny bit of midriff, the shirt that's just too short. Yeah, we come back around to the fashion again.
Always.
It's probably the most 90s thing.
Fashion stands out so much in movies. That's the one thing that...
It really does.
You can always tell. Also, again, I kind of pointed it out earlier, but, like, leaving the kid in the house and taking the monitor. Like, I know they've... locked the house, he's gone to bed or whatever, but I cannot imagine someone doing that in this day and age.
Especially not in working class Chicago.
Yeah. Oh God, not in Chicago at all. Like, you're just asking for
trouble.
Yeah.
Some kind.
Yeah. And not to mention, like, kids are sneaky.
Yeah, they all have phones at 7 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
Forget that baby monitor, that radio baby monitor. Like,
right.
They now have the most expensive, like, actual cameras for baby rooms now.
Dude, which
terrifies
so badly
me,
want to get, like, a camera for our bunny room.
It's, like, I feel like it was bad enough that anybody could tune into your radio station and listen to your baby monitor. But now it's like, who's going to hack into your camera
and true.
Watch your baby? Ugh. I've never understood that. Just co-sleep. It'll be fine. It will be fine. Is this a good movie?
It's an okay movie. Watching it again, fine. I wouldn't necessarily say it's, like, one of the best, but it's solid.
I think it does what it does well.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. Like, I'm not big into horror.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I liked this. There wasn't too much that was, like, super spooky, or there wasn't... I mean, there was gore toward the beginning, but it didn't last too long, and it was just, like, enough to give you the idea of, here's how he's feeling.
Well, and I mean, I'm not a big ghost movie person, usually, but the visuals in this were very cool, and they didn't overdo the, like, ghosty jump scares, which is pretty common in movies now.
It was all, like, it wasn't super concealed. Like, she looked real.
Yeah.
She was pale. And she moved at a weird frame rate.
She didn't look like a monster.
Right. She was just there. You didn't have to squint to see her. She wasn't out of focus.
Yeah.
She was just kind of there. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think they did a good job with that.
So this movie holds up?
I don't know, because like I said, it just comes back to what a different experience it was watching it now versus the first time I saw it. And
I do wonder how much of it is just our age and how much of it is that the culture has changed. Like, I feel like right now, I think it holds up for now.
Yeah.
I think in another 20 years...
Probably not.
Maybe it won't.
Yeah.
Narratively.
I would agree with that.
I mean, I think the production is fine, like all that stuff. I think just thematically it'll get...
Yeah. I think even now it's kind of pushing it.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it still holds up for now. Barely. But yeah, I don't think it will for...
But excluding that stuff, I think it's a fine film in that...
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
The way it looks, the way that, like you said, the ghost has been done. I think that stuff's good.
Yeah, I think they did a good job with that stuff.
And yeah, the more subtle, the better.
Agreed.
And I think this did it.
Agreed. Because, I mean, I think that's why I'm not big on ghost movies now, is because they kind of overdo the, everything's a jump scare. The ghost is always there to attack you. Like, that's every ghost movie. But this one wasn't like that.
Yeah, she didn't make any threats, did she?
No.
She was just kind of spooky.
Yeah, she wasn't there to hurt Tom or their family. She was just there to...
She just spoke to them.
Yeah.
I don't think she moved anything.
No, I don't think so. Like, the scariest thing was her...
Just showing up on the couch.
That and talking through Jake that one time.
Yeah.
And even that was only a few words.
Yeah, I never did it again.
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe because she recognized that somebody was really listening and maybe she could get somewhere.
Yeah.
With just this one nudge.
It was very subtle.
Yeah.
So, neat. I like that.
All right. I think that's about it.
I think so.
That wasn't bad.
No, that was an easy one.
$19.99 lives on at geekspective.com, where you can find other goofy podcasts like this one. You can reach out to this show on the social medias at Plitgif, PLITGYIF. That's Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. And you can find me on Tumblr at Doing Crimes. That's it for now. Hope to see you at the next party. Yeah, another reason I should be typing my notes is that I can't read my own fast handwriting, and so I sound illiterate when I'm reading the synopses sometimes.